Okay, today we're going to be doing an oil change on our Honda CRF250F. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to kind of walk you through the basic steps of changing your oil and oil filter. So the first thing that you need is some oil. So I got this on Amazon. This is actually Pro Honda 4-stroke motorcycle oil, and I'll put a link in the description. But this is designed for this bike, and I'm sure you can use it with most 4-stroke motorcycle engines. But these come in 32 fluid ounces, and when you change the oil, you're supposed to put in 1.35 liters. So it's about 45 fluid ounces, something like that. So it's going to be a little bit more than just one of these. So good idea to get multiple. You can get them in a 2-pack, and that's probably a good idea to have. Also going to need an oil funnel, which I'm sure you all know that. Pretty basic stuff. The tools you'll need is a ratchet wrench, 12 millimeter to take the oil bolt off, and it's an 8 millimeter socket for the oil filter. Flathead screwdriver will take off this oil cap for you. So the first thing that I like to do when I do an oil change is make sure I run the bike for a few minutes. So I just started it up and drove it around the yard for about 5 minutes and brought it back just to get the engine and the oil a little bit up to temperature, warm it up a little bit. So to drain the oil, you're going to have to get underneath the engine and find the bolt for the oil. All right, so it's a little hard to see under here because it's so dark. The screw bolt to open up the oil and drain it is actually right here. Some skid plates cover this up completely. They usually have an opening or a gap that lets you get in there. So this bike just came with this plastic skid plate, which I'm probably going to replace because I do ride in some really rocky areas. You're definitely going to need an oil pan to drain the oil, but you're going to want to put that underneath the engine. Now we're going to take our socket wrench, 12 millimeter, and open up the oil bolt. Loosen it pretty good. You can just hand turn it, get it the rest of the way, and it's probably going to just pour right out. So we're going to let that drain for a couple minutes. Just let all that oil come out. I'm also going to open up this cap here to let some airflow get through, help drain the oil out. Tilt your bike as well. Make sure that oil isn't hiding in the corners there. Okay, we're going to give that a few minutes to fully drain. All right, now that our oil is completely drained, we are going to put the bolt back on before we forget. Okay, now we're going to change the oil filter. So to do that, use your 8 millimeter socket. Take these 2 bolts off. Take the cap off here and be sure to have your pan underneath this because sometimes oil can come out of here. Whoa, a lot of oil coming out. This is my first time changing the oil on this bike. It's a new bike, so I don't know. The previous owner may have put too much oil in. I haven't seen that much oil come out of an oil filter. There's usually a little bit, but that was a lot. So this is what it looks like on the inside here. Keep in mind and note that in the center, there is a spring there. So sometimes that spring pops out and you can clean it off, or sometimes it just stays in there. You can take it out and clean it and put it back in, that's fine. But make sure there is a spring there in the center because that oil filter is going to be under spring tension when you put it in. Definitely want to clean this out really well. Next, you're going to take your oil filter here. This one's from Honda. I'll put a link in the description where you can find this. I believe I also believe I got both cans of oil and this in a package on Amazon, so I'll put a link for that. Okay, putting this in is pretty straightforward. You have this little rubber gasket here. This side is going to go into your filter cap here, like that, and it's just going to go straight in. Put your bolts back on here. All right, now that our fresh oil filter is in there and good to go, our bolt is tightened down on the bottom, we can now put the new oil in. Take your funnel. All right, that's one. And here's our second, and not even quarter of this. Okay, we're going to take our dipstick and put that back in. We're just going to put it in. We don't need to screw it in. Just put it in so it's flush. We're going to tilt the bike so it's upright. Check the dipstick. Looks good. Tighten that down and we are good to go. Our oil is changed in our engine and we are ready to ride.